You've definitely heard the name of the great Maratha king Shivaji. I mean, he forged an empire that took on the Mughals and completely reshaped the destiny of India. But what happens when a founder like that is gone? How does an empire even survive? Well, that question leads us to a fascinating story, not of one, but of two powerful dynasties that would come to define the entire Maratha Empire. Let's get into it.
So, check this out. We're looking at two family trees that really tell the whole story. On the left, you've got the Bhonsles. These are Shivaji's direct descendants, the kings, the Chhatrapatis. And on the right, you have the Bhatt family, who we know as the Peshwas, the prime ministers. And that, right there, is the big question. How on earth did the family of appointed officials on the right end up with more power than the actual royal family on the left?
To figure that out, we have to start with the royal family itself. Right after its founder's death, because this is where the first cracks in the very foundation of their power really began to show.
Okay, so here's that Bhonsle family tree again, with the man himself, Shivaji, right at the top. His successors were supposed to carry on his legacy, to rule the incredible empire he built. And, for a little while, it seemed like they would.
At first, things were, pretty standard. After Shivaji's reign ended in 1680, his son Shambhaji took over. After him, his brother Rajaram ruled until the year 1700. It was a clear, if kind of turbulent line of succession, but that stability, it was about to be completely shattered.
And this is the turning point, the moment it all goes sideways. When the third king, Rajaram, died, it didn't lead to a smooth handover of power. Nope. Instead, it threw the royal house into a bitter, destructive civil war.
So what happened was the dynasty basically split right down the middle into two rival camps. On one side, you had Shahu, the son of the second king. He set up his capital at Satara, but he was challenged by the incredible, formidable Taurabai, Rajaram's widow, who was fighting for her own son's claim to the throne. After a major battle, she went and set up a whole rival court in Kolhapur. The royal family was literally at war with itself.
So that leads to a huge question, right? With the kings and queens, the rightful rulers, all locked in this nasty family feud, who was actually, running the empire? Who was leading the armies, collecting taxes, and making the day-to-day decisions?
And the answer to that question? Well, it brings in the other family in our story. As the Chhatrapatis were busy fighting each other, their own prime ministers, the Peshwas, started to step into that power vacuum. So, what exactly is a Peshwa? Well, officially, the title just meant prime minister, the head administrator appointed by the king to run the government. A really powerful job, for sure, but a job that was supposed to serve the throne, not become more powerful than it.
Now, take a look at the Peshwa family tree, and wow, what a difference. While the royal Bhonsle line was fractured and fighting, this chart shows this incredibly stable, direct line of succession. This unity, this continuity, that was going to be their greatest weapon.
And this is absolutely key. The first few Peshwas, they weren't just clocking in and out of a job. They were smart, they were ambitious, and they systematically turned the role of prime minister into a hereditary dynasty of their own, the de facto rulers of the empire.
You can really see it happen in three clear steps. First, you've got Balaji Vishwanath, appointed in 1713. He made himself indispensable to Chhatrapati Shahu during that whole civil war. Then comes his son, the absolute legend Bajirao I, a military genius who just exploded the empire's borders. And then his son, Balaji Bajirao, sealed the deal by taking over all the administration and the money. Each generation just kept building on the power of the last.
And this is where our two stories collide. You've got a divided royal family on one side, and this unified, ambitious family of prime ministers on the other. The stage was absolutely set for a massive power shift, one that would redefine who really ruled the Maratha Empire.
It all led to this saying that just perfectly sums up the whole new reality. The king reigns, but the Peshwa rules. The Chhatrapati could keep his title, he could keep his crown, but the real, actual power, that now belonged to the Peshwa. Okay, so let's really nail down how this happened. It all boils down to the relationship between Chhatrapati Shahu and his first great Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath. Shahu basically owed his throne to his prime minister's political skill. And he came to rely on the Peshwa family so much that he pretty much handed them the keys to the empire. This one act set a precedent that would last for generations.
And so, in the end, this is what the empire looked like. The Bhonsle Chhatrapatis, the direct heirs of Shivaji, stayed on as symbolic kings in their capital of Satara. But the real center of gravity,
all the political, military, and economic power of the Maratha Empire, it all moved to the Peshwa's court in Pune.
So let's just break it down one more time. The royal family's infighting weakened them to a breaking point. This created a huge power vacuum, and that vacuum was filled by the super competent and unified Peshwa family, who turned their administrative job into the top job. The prime minister literally became more powerful than the king he was supposed to be working for.
And you know, all of this leaves us with a really fascinating question that you see again and again throughout history. In the great game of power, what really matters more? Is it the legitimacy that comes from a royal bloodline? Or is it the raw ability to just get things done, to govern effectively and to command loyalty? The story of the Chhatrapatis and the Peshwas, well, it offers one very compelling answer.